Well, we have arrived. We've arrived, good people, and for good reason. There has been a crazy situation developing that's been developing for a long period of time. But Akademiks, who you know from trying to be the hip hop Lordian, overlordian, or whatever, his claim is this has become such a growing problem in this industry is that you have all of these YouTubers who have never been in the mix, never met anybody who got their fame basically off of YouTube, who never lived or experienced this life or been around that circle or been around people to know that there's certain things you shouldn't do. And you don't triple and double down on it just because it's going to get you more hits and views. Because what you're doing is you're playing in a pool that's muddy and dirty. And the same way you was treating YouTubers like you big act, the personality, I'm big act, I'm that guy, all that hollering and yelling. And it's good for your character because you deceive the young, making them think that's the attitude they're supposed to have in their households. Now, you came up in the war in Chirac. I had a problem with that, meaning that I live in Chicago, born and raised in Chicago. So definitely when I saw that, I said, oh my God, how are they even allowing this guy to even do what he do? And that limited you a lot. You had a lot of people who felt a certain way about that because they had people that they've lost and been around you for said things. Now, this whole thing that materialized as of late, me and you have never really seen eye to eye. So the fact that me and you haven't really seen eye to eye kind of leads to the fact that even though there are scenarios that don't line up, you're aware of me, you know who I am, and the fact that we are not on the same wavelength, I'm cool with that. Because I know you lie. And I know you pull schemes just to try to protect agendas. So as that was being formed, I knew that something like this was going to happen to you as you've been engulfed in lawsuits and court appearances as of late. Because you want to be famous so bad. This is the end results of being famous. Then with Meg Thee Stallion, who's known as Megan Pete, you've taken that way too far to try to protect your relationship with Tory by going online, saying things and spreading information that you claim Tory is innocent because he's your homeboy. And going against what was said in the court of law and just not following any of the evidence, just following what allegedly Tory Lanez was doing, giving you the information. Now, this guy appeared, right, on his platform and said these words.
Keep it with Tory, but if you really want to smoke with me, file a lawsuit. I'm here. This ain't going, you ain't Cardi B and I ain't Tasha K. She ain't going like that. But you ain't going to do a thing. You're going to sit there, keep working out on TikTok, nigga.
Keep working out on TikTok, nigga. Talking to a female like she's a guy. Knowing that you would never even say these type of things to her face if you were to see her. Because you're not built that way. It's all apologies when you meet them. But you always got smoke for women. Never for the men. Now, what you've been doing was really pissing off people that she works for, like Rock Nation. You've been spreading a lot of information about Rock Nation That's just not what they like, especially from somebody like you. And they know it. And the fact is, because you've done that, you've opened up Pandora's box. Now, for those who don't know what's going on, let me get you caught up. Okay? We're going to get you caught up as we go into what Meg Thee Stallion actually won against this guy. And we're going to take it from there. So let's drop the intro now.
Hi, I'm Carcino.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world. And I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Now, let's get into this. Hit the like button up. Don't forget to become a member. Yep, you got memberships now. So if we got enough members by Christmas, we're just going to be doing giveaways. So anyway, y'all asked me for it, so y'all got it. Now, here we go. Here's the situation. Milagro Grams, a social media reporter, journalist, or whatever, said they had a DNA report, and this DNA report said that they had information leading to the fact that from a DNA report that they got, and Grams also said they had seen this report that allegedly shared that there was some information saying that his evidence wasn't on the weapon, meaning Tory Lanez, rapper known as Tory Lanez. Daystar Peterson, in other words, which I think is a better name than Tory Lanez. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So she won a lawsuit in court in New York State District Court of New Jersey. And with the Rule 45 subpoena for Akademiks to have to appear in court, he told her, you want me to come there, I have to go to court if you want me to do this. So now he's got to go to the Clarkson S. Fisher Federal Building and the U.S. Courthouse on 402 East State Street in Trenton, New Jersey. That's where he's going to be headed. So on the day of October the 8th of 2025, he was ordered with a motion to compel. So that means that you're going to have to be there for an additional 45 minutes to your deposition that you already done. And you're going to be restricted to questions to your source of information for the social media posts at issue that they have in paragraph 34 of the second amended complaint in the Florida action. Now, the lawsuit is Milagro versus Megan Pete. Akademiks wasn't the one being sued. But now he's got to be the one to go to court and say where he got the information from. So Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, for her actions and the things that she said, will have to deal with such judgment. And these lawyers are not here to play by any circumstances. They're not here to play games. Oh, but it gets a little bit more interesting, see? Because he did a deposition and he recorded it and posted it.
I want to make sure in me showing you guys, and by the way, I told him, I said, hey, listen, I understand what a protective order is, but if you ask me a question, did you walk your dog today? I definitely plan to go online and tell them, you asked me if I walked my dog today. So questions and conversations that doesn't seem to contain privileged material that you're presenting to me, Those things I am absolutely finna go. Like, this ain't secret. You ain't about to, y'all ain't about to, Rod Nation about to kill me in secret. Y'all gotta kill me in public. I'm sorry, okay? And I'm saying that tongue in cheek. Anyway. So that happens, but before I get to I'm gonna start playing a few things that maybe you guys would care about. I ain't gonna lie. Rock Nation might have sent the B squad, man. Yo, I might send the B squad at the boy. Y'all gonna send the squad. Might want to send the A, okay? Might want to send the A squad. The A squad gonna be the squad, all right? Because also, I'm thinking, why y'all want to put me in a deposition when y'all know I have the biggest mouth in hip-hop history? Pause. That sounded crazy, huh? Okay, let me just put this up to your hip like that.
So he's bragging on the fact that why y'all sending the B squad at me? So you're basically taunting the legal system. You're posting the deposition whether you feel it's not pertaining to the case and prudent to the case. They're just letting you keep making more and more mistakes. That's going to lead you to get tripped up into something you can't get out of. Because what he doesn't understand is that if you give up your source to where that information came from, and you have to be forced to give up that information, you are in a liable position. Because if that information came from Tory himself or his people, in trouble is what you're going to be. Then Milagro's going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble next. And it's only going to get worse. And Vlad can't help you. He would just step away to protect himself. And that's the narrative that's going to happen because he talks too much. It's clear he talks extremely too much. And this thing is not going to go away. Yes, he's very foolish because he's believing that all I got to do is this, and then it's done, and then I'm in the clear. No, dummy, you're not in the clear. You're never gonna be in the clear, and people have tried to tell you this. You're fighting a fight you're not gonna be able to win. Let Tory Lanez fight his own battles. You stated how you felt personally. Now step aside. Now, if Kendrick Lamar was just concerned about it, he isn't. Because he knows you can't affect him with nothing you do. The people around him might want to do something about it when they see you. And when they pulled up on you in Detroit, did you think you can go rent a room out in Detroit and they not find out it's you and that you're there? In the skybox, you better off sitting in section J35. But when you get a suite, you think you can just pop up there? And that's why they say they knew what you was doing when you did that move. You was like, yeah, I pulled up and them dudes ain't did nothing. You was ready to pop that. They knew you were going to play that angle when the show was over. Like, yeah, I went to see Kendrick. Man, they ain't do nothing. I walked in and everything. They knew you were going to play that angle. So that's why they pressed you. They pressed you to see what you was there for. What you want? You want the phone? And then you, no. Of course, because you know. You know now. You know better. Why you didn't go to Toronto and do that? Ain't your homeboy there? I didn't see you fly out to go support your boy in his international shows. Them other little white streaming guys, he flew them out and everything. Not you, though. You see, everything with you is cap. Like when you played the video trying to say that I was a TDE executive and you play my voice like people on YouTube don't know who I am. In your comment section, it said, people were saying, that's Carcino. And you knew you were caught then. You were, oh, shit, they know this dude. Stupid. You can't play a video. People know my voice. They listen to my voice every damn day. You can't pull that. Well, when you play somebody's audio or the audio of me saying I'm a TDE executive and you're playing my audio, that's when it was going to be a problem. The same way he tries to do all this stuff against TDE and all of this stuff because he's claiming he's riding. Right? And he's doing all of this for Drake. Drake doesn't even care about you. He treats you like a mole. So all this fighting for him is for what? I was somebody who was right there supporting it because I called the thing down the middle. He ain't like that. As soon as I said Euphoria was hot, oh man, he got so mad at me. Like I betrayed him. And I'm like, boy, are you thinking you can, I don't work for you? I'm telling it like it is. I'm thinking I'm ready for him to go ahead and see what he's going to do. And right. Academics isn't hip hop, though. See, that's the problem. He thinks what he does is a form of hip hop. No, you just talk about shit and put down people all the time. That's all you do. You don't know anything about the hip hop, what it started, or nothing. You just go on there, go on your platform and disrespect them. Dusty rappers. Yeah, these old rappers, they just dusty and broke. Little Syrupy Tim is the future. And what happened? All them guys phase on out. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. It's happened countless times.
Actually, before I get to Roddy Ricch, I'll play the TDE part.
I'm just like, this is bad. This makes us look really stupid. Whose voice is that? Anyway, this is what happens when the owner of your label, well, Drake and them don't really care. They straight. You know, their money's coming through with no problems. So that hasn't been a situation with him. So Drake is this ain't even everything I know. Don't. That was the TV executive part. Everybody could know. That's how you know it. So when I say the dude's a liar, when I said the dude's a liar, I know firsthand he used my audio and called me the TDE executive and labeled it CJ Francis 1. Who, like, what does that even mean? TDE executive. Don't really care. They straight. You know, it's like.
Hearing niggas is telling me, like, you telling.
Here we go.
Put none of this music out, and I'm already hearing niggas is telling.
Actually, before I get to Roddy Ricch, I'll play the TDE part.
I'm just like, this is bad. This makes us look really stupid. But anyway, this is what happens when the owner of your label, well, Drake and them don't really care. They straight. You know, their money's coming through with no problems. So that hasn't been a situation with them. Totally different situation, totally different subject, and you chop it up and edit it and take something out of context. But yet, I'm the TDE executive. Now, everybody know I should have sued for doing that. But sue him for real. Now, yeah, that's definitely your voice, you know, exactly. So you know the guy's full of cap, and he's gonna run these plays. But we're not in the world where YouTube sue play, you know, YouTubers are suing YouTubers. I'm like, I don't want to be into that situation. That's a waste of my time. But you see what kind of cap he was on. You feel me? It was complete cap, the whole thing. So he did the same thing that when going down this road, knowing he was doing lives. Then brought a guy on there who claimed that Kendrick was buying bots and said $5,000 for 3 million streams. That tell you right there that's stupid. Everybody on YouTube would have 3 million streams that had a little bit of money. I would have 3 million views a day. If that was the case, I'll be sitting back, shoot, 5,000 a day. I'll be, here you go, here's my 5 for the day. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I would make way more with the 3 million views a day. Are you kidding? Every upcoming artist who's a hustler, they be, yo, hit my 5. Yo, hit my 5. Here's your 5 right there. Hit me off with them 3,000. 3 million views. That ain't gonna get you that. Nothing real. Yeah, what he thought was that he could do that and nobody was gonna notice that it was me. Once he figured that out, like, oh, wow, they noticed it's him. You getting blocked. So once he figured out, damn, everybody knows it's him. This didn't work. No, it did not. That went bad, and it could have went bad in another way had I choose to go that route. But I knew what you was doing was going to play yourself. And you made it worse. Well, not you, but your buddy who you were protecting made it worse when he decided to sue Kendrick Lamar's label and his label, UMG, and want to expose all this stuff. So now, mentioned in the lawsuit from Champagne Sloppy was the guy you brought up there who's talking about he bought bots. A popular YouTuber. They don't even name you. A popular YouTube brought a guy on there who said he brought bots, which forced you to have to publicly go out and say, yeah, that wasn't true on your show. Because if you didn't come out and tell the world that was true, but what you do is you ruin your own credibility, what little of it you have left. You ruin it by playing these plays, running these plays or whatever. They don't help. All you do is further make a mess that you're going to have to clean up now because you're on the big boy floor now. That's what you wanted. You wanted to be there, right? So now you're on the big boy floor and you ain't got nobody on your side, homie. The people that's on your side can't help you with nothing. They can't help you with a goddamn thing when this thing get hot. And it's going to get hot. And you going to be at the forefront of it. Oh, yeah. See, that's the problem you're not seeing and understanding is that you're not very well liked in the industry. You're looked at as a joke. Nobody really takes you seriously. And you're not even the one being sued yet. But you keep egging these people on. The majority of the people who ask and try to put themselves in a position where other people aren't, they get moved and they get moved around till they get put into spots they ain't supposed to be. She can't sue him yet until she gets the information. Once he's deposed, and she's already in a lawsuit with Milagro, Elizabeth Cooper. Now, if the information from Akademiks come out, because they both had it, then she could proceed forward with her actions against Akademiks. If there's he got source from somebody else, but his information and his source of information for his social media posts, when they have an issue with paragraph 34 in their amended complaint, he keeps stirring the pot instead of letting this thing go. He's keeping the drama going because he's riding for his guy. And because he's doing that, in the way that he's doing it, he's thinking can nobody touch me? He's been grossly disrespectful. He's actually posting the lawyers in his deposition. He's playing a very dangerous game. And when you play that dangerous game with these people who have taken down giants, and they got enough lawyers to drive you through court forever. They will grind you into breaks or light breaks. So you need to be a little bit more cautious about who you're dealing with. Now, we'll take you to some.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to I'll Do It Myself. I am Wayno. If you like what I've been, he almost lost his life. And at the point when Tory got convicted, there's an outcry of the people who agree and think that he had nothing to do wrong, that there's never been an admission of guilt, that there's never been enough proof or enough ground to stand on, that because Meg lied on Gayle King about her sleeping with Tory, that she's lied about every single thing in her career, or she's lied about everything concerning this case.
Yep, and that's how they trying to put it. Now, the evidence in the case is laid out. And Wayno worked with him, but Wayno came up in the music world, did not come up under social media. So now the court is looking for him to compel him to bring the information, but he's worked with Akademiks. So he's seen this.
Obtaining and doing shit you ain't absolutely know you ain't got no business doing. I make this equivalent to damn near pulling a gun on camera. Pulling a gun on camera. You want to know why? Because you're dealing with professionals in the space of the law, in law enforcement. And regardless to how anybody feels regarding Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion situation, Tory ass is locked up and he's going to remain locked up. And it's not nothing that nobody's opinion can do to change that, nor nothing that we can do. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't cover when the bodyguard says something and the website came out and all of that. I was curious. But my curiosity has nothing to do with what's set in hand right now. If you get punched in your mouth and you don't do nothing about it, you still got punched in your mouth, right? So let's continue. It says, and shall last for more than 45 additional minutes and shall be restricted to questions relating to Mr. Allen's source of information for the social media post at issue in paragraph 34 on the Second amended complaint, in Florida action, and is further ordered the depositions that will take place in person in Trenton, New Jersey. We ain't got to put the address and all of that. But let's go back to some of the videotape regarding this deposition.
Chick's a liar. Like, that's point blank period. I don't know, like, you
believe that the verdict had nothing to do with the victim's testimony that she was shot by Tory Lanez.
Ma'am, you're cleverly but not cleverly trying to make me say something I'm not saying. So I'll state it on the record unequivocally. The jury believes that Tory shot Meg. The jury, from what I know, did not issue any statement, vote, or any opinion that they believed everything Meg said. Is one of the things Meg said that Tory shot her? Yes. So they believe that. However, the reason why I don't believe Meg in totality is that once I've deemed you as a liar, listen, they say don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. I kind of throw everything you got to say. I don't want to hear nothing. Don't tell me the sky's blue. I got to go check for myself. You're a liar.
And this is coming from this individual. This man who said I was a TDE executive on his video. I can't believe anything that comes out of your mouth. So now it's clear. We see what we're dealing with. So in your mind, you can't believe nothing she got to say. And just like that, it happens.
That's my perspective. So if Meg told me today, hey, listen, it's raining outside, I'd be like, give me a second, and I would go outside and go look. And I'd be like, you're right.
Now, Axe stated a lot of his opinion, right? But even for myself, who doesn't know all of this legal shit, especially when it comes to situations like this, what is best case scenario versus worst, right? At best, if Act complies fully, then, you know what I mean, he won't be held in contempt. You know what I'm saying? It says the question doesn't reveal anything damaging, the court will move on, right? Also says if he avoids fines, he can avoid fines and sanctions, you know what I mean, since the order was granted in limited part. And let's talk about worst case scenario though. Worst case scenario, because a lot of y'all want the worst case in every scenario. So let's talk about it, right? If he refuses to comply and gives evasive answers, it could lead to contempt or court charge, fines, or he could possibly be arrested, right? If his answers expose that he leaked confidential info, violated a court order, or could open him up to civil liability and defamation related consequences. So basically, if he start getting up there and acting how he was acting on this motherfucking deposition in the first place, a lot of bad things could happen for him. You know what I'm saying? But let's.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Deportation, that's only a part of it. He will be hit with fines galore. Then he will get hit with a very big lawsuit from Meg Thee Stallion. This is why this is not just some, once you forced to give up that information act, you have put yourself in a box, okay? Because now, unfortunately for you, that you chose to go down this route, your ego is $2,000. And you're going to get in there and apologize to the courts. You're going to want to apologize to Meg, apologize to Rock Nation. You're going to be doing a lot of apologizing, boy. And you're going to be trying to buy your way out of this situation. And me and you both know you ain't really got it like that. So it's a situation where it's best you chill. Mm-hmm. It's not one of them situations at all. It's a situation where you need to chill. Send him back to Kingston, Jamaica. Well, he might have to go there and flee. Do a Tasha K move and move out the United States. Move your assets around. But what was he bragging? You're not Cardi B, and I'm not Tasha K. Okay. Okay. They hear you talking. But are you ready to do the walking? Absolutely. So what Wayno was doing was letting people know that this is actually bigger than what everybody really think. If he's forced to give up the source, he's in trouble.
And if he sees something that he may deem favorable, or he may say, oh, that person has a similar viewpoint as mine, he has his own viewpoints. But if somebody says, oh, he got the same viewpoint as mine, he's going to listen to that. He's going to be open to the floor and listen objectively as possible. But at the same time, when he starts to do shit like call out a name, or not only her but other women, just people in general, because Act does, like, he curses everybody the fuck out. But when he does this to all types of people, then now he's met with the, or what are you trying to push here? And of course, you know, you get the whole, well, Rock Nation is putting up to the Rock Nation, and then Rock Nation, and Rock Nation is the Illuminati, the devil. We get all that. Cool, cool, right? But when you have these platforms and you're covering shit, you know, even when you cover, even for myself, when you give your opinion, you also have to be careful in what it is that you're saying. When you start saying something with some sort of level of malice, or it's a continuous like banging of the gavel or some shit from your standpoint, then it's going to be viewed as if you're doing things a certain way when you're saying other people are doing things a certain way towards you.
And that's what's going to happen. He's going to look like a snitch. I mean, shoot, do you think Vlad wouldn't snitch? He's going to basically have to say his source came from Tory and his people. And maybe he don't get sued. They going to have to reveal where them sources came from. It ain't my decision. It's the court's decision. So, once again, Vlad ain't going to be able to protect you in this. He ain't going to want no parts of what's going on with Rock Nation. No parts. You hear me? None, nada, zilch. So if you know that, and what Wayno is trying to tell you, because Wayno used to work with Akademiks, he knows there are two different Akademiks that he works with. He's got the Akademiks that's on camera and the one he sees when the camera's off. So because there are two different Akademiks, this is what you get. This is what you receive as the people. This is what you being force-fed. Now, all these narratives start to change once they start seeing people going in the direction that don't usually make sense. Vlad, tell us something we don't know. Vlad would tell in a heartbeat. He ain't got no problem in doing it. But nothing is expected from him. Shoot, he told on Rick Ross. Built his own company with that. Yeah, why he ain't got the paperwork on that? But he told Akademiks, though. Actually, he did. Wack told him, like, man, you got to cut those plays out. Remember, I never talked to Wack again after he got out of line with me. I said, look, bro, they told you don't talk to me no more. They're going to cut you out. And then that's when you changed up. Talking about some how you get my number. Fool, you gave me your number. If I was somebody that didn't have your number, couldn't have your number, I wouldn't have your number. But it don't serve me no purpose to talk to you. So I will go back to not speaking to you. The internet's not falling apart. You might.
Now let me tell you how I feel about Ack in this whole situation. Ack is definitely a person that's been a colleague of mine because we worked together for so long. The person that I know when the cameras is off is different than the person I know when the camera's on. With that being said, a lot of his actions is fucking excusable. And he knows I feel that way about him, about a lot of shit.
Inexcusable.
You know what I'm saying? I think what made us have a good work relationship is sometimes we did think, we did see things from the same standpoint, but with different verbiage. But we had a contrast. I come from a world that he don't come from, and vice versa. He comes from things that I know nothing about, and the same from my side. I think that act for what he's been doing for years, like, he covered the war in Chirac and all of that, and then he gave it up. There has to be some sort of pivot, specifically with how you deal with these situations, because it makes you look fucking stupid. It makes you look dumb. You know what I mean? It makes you look dumb to people who are totally against you. And not only that, people ask, well, what's your vendetta? Well, what the fuck did Meg do to you? Is it so simple that she's a liar, or is it that you favor Tory Lanez because y'all are cool? I think that's the predicament that he's currently in. How I feel about it is this, bro. If you ain't grown the fuck up yet when it comes to this type of shit, you're not never gonna grow up. And the thing is people are entertained by the shit that you do. Niggas jack a lot of shit that you do. I don't jack a lot of shit that Act do. Let's keep it 1,000.
And that's factual. That's why he's the only one on that show I respected. That's true. Wayno was the only one I gave respect to. Now, he's been a manager, doing A&R work for artists. In case you don't know who Wayno is, before he was on Everyday Struggle and came in and replaced Star on the show or whatever, when they gave the show to Akademiks for it to fall apart completely, and realized Akademiks just don't hold any real weight, period. And just know he was a hack. And it was a shame because when it first hit, I wanted the show to be successful. But then when I saw the show, I said, yeah, this ain't going to work. One, it's hard to work with somebody like Joe Budden. Two, it's a more difficult situation for everybody involved when it comes to, you're not lying about whack drying up. That is definitely true, because it's only so much of that you're going to continue to do before they're going to get tired of you. Yeah, so when you look at a show and a place like Complex, like they're not known for having anything to do with black people, and if it is hip hop, it's white, white hip hop. They would skateboard. That crew. They didn't support anything that was hip hop, from their material to nothing. Now they talking about all these gangster rappers and got a rap show with Joe Budden and Akademiks. They didn't even hire Akademiks. So they was like, who is this guy? Joe was like, he's perfect for what I want to do. That's why he chose Akademiks, because he know he could talk to Akademiks any way he wants. He couldn't do that with Lord Jamal. They wanted Lord Jamal. He's known. He's got a face. People know him in the industry. They will respect what he says. But he was like, no, I choose this fat, greasy thing. Trust me, on the internet, he got a lot of followers. And let me just do what I do. And I can just go off on him. You shut up. He can go off and yell at Akademiks just gonna take it. Like, oh, okay. All right, I just gotta take it, I guess. So he finally took him out of the basement. And at that time, Akademiks was making like $300,000 a year probably a little bit less than 300K when he got picked up and got brought over to Complex. That's why he was trying to get out. He was trying to branch out. And then they told him, like, dude, you can make 500 to 600,000 a year, and then you're gonna do like whatever. And then they came with a deal. BBTV was like, look, we're gonna get you a deal. We're gonna get you that. They came to me. I'm already doing 225,000 a year just off the YouTube. So I was like, at that time, this was like 2016. I'm doing 225 a year. He's doing about 300. Right. Then I didn't take the deal. They came with a deal. I was going to make about at least 2.2 million out of the deal at a minimum in this deal. That's like a 2-year deal. And then I re-up with them, and they's like, it's like, we don't tell people a dollar amount, but you shouldn't see anything less than 7 figures plus. It would come out to about 2.2. I've already done the math. It would come out in 1 year. I would have been at nearly 2 million. By the time the whole thing was done. So it was like, okay, here it is, 2.2 million. Then I re-up, and then I keep growing. Then I go from 2 to 5. And, they had it all broke down. Now, I turned the deal down because they wanted to control my content. They wanted to come into my page, start putting stuff on private, taking stuff down that I didn't need, and they can control everything in my account. And that's where I had a problem. I said, nah, that ain't happening. I love those videos. No, you ain't touching that. No, hell no. You're not touching that either. No, we're not doing the deal. So I foolishly made a video, something that, because I didn't know any better then. I didn't know how the internet business worked. I foolishly make a video, go live, and expose the contract, like stuff I'm not supposed to do. And I blow up the entire deal. I mean, blow up the entire deal. I know. To you, it would be cap, DJ Dash. That's why you're DJing nothing. You have not done a show, a house party, or nothing. You're all cap. That's correct. You're just named yourself DJ because you got a playlist in your car on your Apple or Spotify, whatever one you use. Now, they take these deals, and these guys take their percentage off of what you make. Akademiks said, "Ooh, I do it," and then he took the deal that was offered to me. And the reason why I know it because they told me, like, "Oh, we just signed Akademiks." So I did a video and exposed what he was getting paid and who he was paying, who was paying him. Akademiks got so mad, he jumped up and called him and told them to take it down. He didn't want nobody to know who was paying him. I already knew. Because they tried to leverage me as to taking the deal. Like that was going to make it easier for me to take the deal because they did a deal with him. Like we just did a deal with him. So I was like, oh, you getting paid by broadband. Okay, that's cool. Broadband is who you get your money from. And at that time, I was getting more views than Akademiks. In case you guys don't know, I was getting 300,000 views of video. 300,000 every video. 300,000, 300, 100,000, 1 million, 800,000, 600,000, 500,000. So my numbers was off the stratosphere. There was nothing. These dudes, they didn't know how I was doing it. Wrong, buddy. No, the money's dried up. And now I'm not talking about for me. I'm talking about for him. Now, Here's the thing. Yes, exactly, L. I've already told this story before, so people just don't realize it. Now, he's not touching a lot of paper. To us, it's a lot of paper. His house is about 1.1 million, or like about 1.5, probably like 1.5 million. He's got a nice house, but the taxes is massive. He's got a crew he got to pay. He's got his mom's house he's paying for, where I think his brother stays there, and he's paying a lot. And then he's trying to get these studios. He's lost a lot of money on his so-called podcast show that failed. That didn't work because nobody really likes him. He kept interviewing these syrupy rappers nobody care about. And now all these other people are stuck because at that point, I'm not pocket watching. If I'm telling what I was doing at the time, how am I pocket watching? It's not watching his pockets. I'm saying the industry dried up. So what he started to make, this is why he wanted to get out of the YouTube space and go into television and get a deal. Remember, he wasn't showing his face. I was showing my face, which they told him, by not showing your face, we can't put a net worth on you because you don't show your face. So they're not going to trust who you are. Now, because I show my face and everything, they already knew who I was. I stood by my work. People knew this is me. Akademiks was scared to show his face because of the type of stuff he was talking on his channel. It was reckless. And he was like, man, you could go anywhere until then. Once he went on Everyday Struggle, that was the first time people really saw him and saw what he looked like. He was hiding because he knew what he was saying was out of bounds. So when he got pressed by Vic Mensa on the show, Vic was like, man, it's been a lot of people like really waiting to see you because they just don't think you a ballsy dude like that. He's like, I really wanted to slap you. You know, I went to that dude's funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people I knew. So when you see that happen, and then when he starts getting hit with that reality, then his whole attitude changed. Like, oh, like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. You knew, you just didn't care. You see, there's a difference from not knowing out of ignorance and don't care. It's a very thin line. No, it's just that when the more money you make, the bigger your bills become. So you got bills coming in from everywhere. Now here we go. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. He just comes out of nowhere. You're 100% wrong. This dude is innocent. There's no gun residue on the gun and all of that. Was I in the courtroom? Did I find the man guilty? No. The court of law found the man guilty, right? So your plea should be to the court of law. The same way y'all applauded Diddy going to jail, right? When that man had nothing but evidence, and the evidence proved in there. But since you want to have this conversation, what about the text messages? You forget about the text messages that was sent? Are we going to ignore all those? We're going to ignore, I'm going to give you $1 million if you don't tell. We're going to ignore the fact that she went down there to go meet him to ask him about the $1 million. Meg's friend. And he was talking about what she need to say to the police and all that. We're going to forget about the phone call he made apologizing for everything. It was all his fault. Let's forget about all that. Let's go off the narrative that some limo driver claiming he heard the girl say that she shot in the car. Why he driving her from trial? Now we got to open up a whole new case because we got some new evidence. Man, they said, man, get this shit out of here. And your homeboy, who was missing for the longest period of time, who was the driver that night, he didn't even get to testify. They said he did show up to testify and they wouldn't let him testify. Why was he in hiding in the first place? Why you didn't want him there? If you ask me, this fool is an idiot. And right before he goes to court, he ends up punching another dude in the mouth like a week before his trial. And he gets sued for that and get thrown off the tour that he was on to earn some money. So if you ask me, Tory Lane is a goofy. He's done a lot of goofy ass things, and this is the results of his goofiness. If you ask me, I think he staged himself getting stabbed in prison. I think he staged that too to try to get out. He'll do any damn thing, in my opinion. And that's my thoughts on that. Now, happens more often than you think, Guilford. Happens a lot. R. Kelly tried it and it didn't work. Happens way more often than you think. Mm-hmm. Akademiks ICE is going to be waiting for him. Yep, a lot of people forget that he's an immigrant here in this country. And yeah, you'll be a little upset too. If you see how things was playing out, you'll be a little bit upset. Because people always seem to put you at a disadvantage when it comes to these type of things. Not me, though. So shouts out to Mano who kept it real. I mean, not Mano, Wayno for keeping it real. And when you see that, then you'll understand it a lot better. Tory Lanez is right where he needs to be. Damn. Yeah, well, when you are in a scenario where it doesn't really pertain to your existence, meaning that the people that are vested in you don't really care about doing anything for you, you just left out there like just in the breeze blowing. That's never a good feeling, bro. It's not a good feeling for you. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Don't forget you can join them and be a member here. And then we gonna go ahead and I listened. I'm still in the process of listening to Mobb Deep's new album. But definitely thank you guys for coming in. You could join up and be a membership here. We're gonna try to do a giveaway at Christmas if we got enough people in here. So we got another people in here. We'll just give giveaways. And that's what we'll do here. And don't forget to go to the Patreon and get updated on what we got going on. Deuces.